our series this month, we decided to do something on consumer protection. So everybody you're going to hear from during the course of this month will be engaged with consumer protection. Now, this month, normally April 15th is the date that we file our taxes. And of course, they've given us a whole another 30 days. So, but not that that makes any difference. I never file on time anyway. I don't have time to file on time. But I send my money in. Okay, and I hope that all of you all do as well. But I'm excited today from the Attorney General's office. I had the opportunity to serve with Kwame Raoul. He is a warm personal friend of mine. Kwame and I actually carried the bill to abolish the death penalty in Illinois. And we've been fast friends ever since. We worked very closely together on criminal justice issues. And we wanted to start off this month under consumer protection with the Attorney General's office. And you see on your screen, protecting the public interest for all of Illinois. We're glad to have, hey, Skip, I don't want to screw up your name, okay? So is it Gonsoulin?
Actually, that is correct. It's Gonsoulin.
Oh, look at me.
You got it. You got it right on the head. No problem. Yes.
All right. He's currently with the AG's office in the capacity of Senior Community Outreach Liaison. Now, he's been with the office for over 16 years. His primary duty is to serve as a liaison between seniors in the community and the office of the Attorney General. He also speaks to community groups, civic organizations, churches, seniors, and then us. He speaks to us. Before joining the Attorney General's office, he was a substitute teacher for Chicago Public School System. And before his stint with CPS, he spent the last 22 years in the legal field as a docket manager for 2 highly respected law firms. He's married to his wife, Jacqueline, of 29 years, and both are members of Trinity United Church of Christ, led by the Reverend Otis Moss III. He and his wife have a cat named Oscar and a dog named Bella. How do they get along? I'll talk to you about that later. Skip is also a past master of Ashler Lodge number 139, which is member of the Prince Hall Masons of Illinois. You and my husband should get along because he is a Mason and he's been a Mason for a long time. So without further ado, I'm going to ask that Skip introduce his partner who's going to help him with his presentation. And thank you for being here. Skip?
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity as well to speak to this group. We really appreciate it. As Karen said, my name is Skip Gonsoulin, and of course with the Illinois Attorney General's office. My colleague, Daryl Phillips, he is our text guy. He's the one that's operating these slides for you and all that. So it allows me just to go ahead and give the presentation. So without further ado, let me just get one thing out of the way. How much time do I have?
Well, when people start falling off and you see that there's 0 where it says participants, you should stop.
I definitely want to avoid that. So
no, okay, you have until 12:15, and then we'll wrap up. At that time, we'll allow for any questions that people may have. Okay.
Okay. So you mean 1:15, right?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Got you. Okay. So let me just say this because we have a lot of information packed in this presentation, but I'm definitely going to cut. Daryl will work with me as we may skip over some things. But go ahead, Daryl. Let's go to the next slide. Next one after that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back just in case, Daryl. I did want to point out that's our email address for those who may need to get in touch with us. By all means, make a notation of that, and we'll try to provide this information, which I think you guys already have. Anyway, I know I've worked with Ms. Jamaica Davis to set this all up, so she's got that. She's also got my phone number, which I will give verbally right now, which is 773-5 5519310. Again, that number is 773-551-9310. That is my cell because we are working remotely. So like a lot of people, and we've been able to adjust and adapt. And so we're actually very fortunate to have this, that you guys have provided this opportunity to be able to present to you in this format. So we really do appreciate that. All right, Daryl. And we can skip that. Overview of the office. Okay, so this is our agenda. We're going to give an overview of the office. Our world has changed because of COVID-19, so we're definitely going to talk about that and how that intersects with our office. We're definitely going to talk about scams. And it says targeting seniors, but really it targets everybody. Seniors are a particular target, however. And then the last thing is, how do you get help from the Attorney General's office? If you run into a problem, how do you contact us? And so we'll talk about that as well. So as Karen mentioned, the Attorney General is Kwame Raoul. He is just, let's see, he's just starting his second year now, I believe, in January. So this is his first term. And the Attorney General's the office is charged with doing three things. We're supposed to advocate on behalf of the people. We will litigate. That means we'll go to court to enforce those laws to come under our jurisdiction, and we will legislate. That means we'll work with the General Assembly, just as Karen mentioned, about drafting laws that we feel are necessary. So those are our three main charges for this office. Where are we? We are in Chicago, in the Thompson Center. Of course, we have an office in Springfield as well, but we've also got two regional offices right here in Chicago as well. We've got a regional office on the south side of Chicago on 8100 South Stony Island. And we also have one on the west side, 306 West Pulaski. I'm sorry, 306 North Pulaski. So those are the two satellite offices in Chicago, and we've got others throughout the state. Our email address is here, our web address, www.illinoisattorneygeneral.gov. I'm going to be directing you to that because that's probably how you're going to be able to do a lot of things with our office. First of all, that's our website. So we definitely want you to go there because we have a ton of good information. But if you need to file a complaint or anything like that, you'll be able to file that online as well. And just in case, for those who may not be online or for seniors who don't have the computers and all that stuff, they will be able to just simply call us and we can mail them a complaint. So we're not going to make it hard for them. We're going to try to make it easy as possible for people. But generally speaking, we do want people to go to the website. I'm part of our Community Outreach Liaison team. I think there's 9 of us. Daryl and myself were part of that team. So normally we would be coming to you face to face, but of course, because of COVID, we can't. So that's why we are doing this by Zoom. And again, we appreciate this opportunity. Okay, next one, Daryl. The Attorney General is really set up like a large law office. We have over 40 bureaus. However, the average citizen is probably not going to come in contact with most of them. And what you see on the screen are the ones that you will be most likely to come in contact with. The first one you see is Consumer Protection. So that is part of our Consumer Fraud Bureau. And our Consumer Fraud Bureau is our biggest bureau. I think we average over 20,000 complaints a year just in consumer fraud. So we are busy. We, of course, are a state agency, and that is why we are busy. We're getting stuff from all over the state. But as you can see, we've got a Crime Victims Services Bureau. We've got healthcare, civil rights. We do stuff on environmental. we've got a Veterans Bureau, we've got disability rights, charitable trusts. If there are nonprofits working in Illinois, they have to be registered with our office. We do a lot when it comes to student loans in terms of people getting help on that. They have a lot of problems with their student loans. And I'm not talking about giving them any money, but when they run into issues with maybe the people that have issued them the money and they're you know, or we've had situations when it comes to the private sector, private loans where they may have gotten these loans, but yet the schools are not, they may not be, the word I'm looking for, I just drawn a blank. It's not certified, but anyway, I'll come back to that. Maybe that'll hit me having one of those senior moments. Of course, as you can see on there, there's identity theft. We've got a public access council. We want to be sure that everybody has access to when it comes to these public meetings. We deal with public utilities as well. So. And the word I was looking for was accreditation. That's what it comes to with the colleges. All of them may not be accredited, and so therefore they may be running into some problems. Next one, Daryl. Top 10 consumer complaints for 2020. So maybe no surprise here, I don't know, but COVID-19, like I said, this has changed everybody's lives. And so when it comes to consumer fraud, I'm sure you probably have heard on the news and inklings about some of the things that have been happening. So especially when this situation first came up, we had a lot of problems. People couldn't get the PPE. They couldn't get their cleaning supplies, Lysol, toilet paper, paper towels, that type of stuff. Well, the scam artists are pretty good about trying to fill in those gaps. And so you may have heard somebody was offering a roll of toilet paper for $5. So that's what we call price gouging. So we got a lot of complaints when it came to price gouging, all of that. I'm sure you guys have probably heard about the issues that the fraudulent filings that are happening with the Illinois Department of Employment Security. People are filing for claims in other people's names. It happened to the Attorney General, Kwame Raoul. It's happened to me. I just got a letter from the department indicating that it was from their fraud department, so they kind of had an inkling. But yes, that stuff is out there. So COVID-19 just gave them another opportunity to try to scam people, and that's what they do. Number 2 is construction home improvement. They were number 1 last year. And let me say on that list that you see, most of the stuff on this list usually is in our top 10. The only thing that happens is the order may change. But in consumer, I've been with the office over 16 years now, and last year was the first time that we had our construction home improvement, what we call our home repair stuff. That was the first time it hit the number 1 spot. So, but they will switch it. Identity theft has been number 1 a couple of times. Motor vehicles, whether it's new auto sales, used sales, also when it comes to the warranty issues, those are always in our top 10 as well. So COVID, how did that intersect with our office? First of all, I told you we'd be driving you to our website. So we've got a lot of information on Freedom of Information Act when it comes to open meetings. We wanted to put information out there. As people know, as a matter of fact, hopefully you are aware, I don't know if people have had an opportunity to take advantage of that, but during COVID-19, there was a moratorium on utility shutoffs. That actually, because of COVID-19, that moratorium was established. I think that moratorium was I think that actually ended maybe November, December of last year. However, we were still in the winter season. And so the utilities were prohibited from turning stuff off because of that season. So that's why we got this extension. It would have been off anyway. However, yesterday was the last day. So utilities are now able to shut people off. So we're encouraging people, if they're having a problem, that they definitely need to reach out to their utility company and see what they can work out. If they have problems, they certainly can contact us, and we will try to see if we can assist on that situation. But we do want them to contact their utilities as soon as they have a problem and see what type of situation they may be able to work out. I mentioned student lending. You see that's on there. Civil rights, disability rights. Civil rights, I'm sure you guys right now, what is in the news is the Asian community is being targeted, and to the fact that these incidences have become physical in nature. So we did a lot of that, especially at the beginning, because as you know, the previous administration of Washington, D.C. kept saying that this came from China, and it was a China virus, a China flu, or whatever, all this other kind of stuff. That it was created in the lab. That all has been determined that that's not the case. But there was a lot of misinformation that came out, and we feel that that contributed to a lot of those incidences. So we had to deal with a lot of that stuff. Consumer debt, of course, people have lost their jobs. So they need help. Homeowners and renters relief, both, of course. If you've lost your job, it's hard to pay your mortgage, hard to pay your rent. And also orders of protection, because an unfortunate result is that with people being confined to their homes, if they were in a domestic violence situation, they may not have had a way to get some relief to leave that setting. So that is something that increased during that time frame as well. So I mentioned civil rights, hate crimes, and discrimination, workplace rights. We got a lot of calls. Understandably, we have a workplace rights bureau, and we got a lot of calls because people from employees who were concerned with their employers who may not have been providing them a safe workplace, and especially when it came to the essential workers. They have to go to work, but they were concerned about their safety. They didn't think the employers were taking the proper measures and all of that. So we fielded a lot of phone calls. I think we fielded maybe just about I think 3,800 phone calls, almost 4,000 phone calls. And I told you we get maybe we average over 20,000 complaints a year. Those work out to be almost 20% of those complaints that we got last year. So we got a lot of stuff. Our Workplace Rights Bureau got a lot of stuff. And of course, as you can see, the consumer protection, stuff regarding the stimulus checks, identity theft, all of that situation was very prevalent as well. So consumer protection trends. We've already talked about it was product pricing scams. We talked about fraud related to the CARES Act. Of course, that's the ones that how people got their stimulus checks, or the unemployment insurance scams. Also, we wanted to make sure that people understood when it came to the charities, because scam artists will call or contact people, and they may be a fake charity, or they may use a real charity's name, but they're not associated with that charity, or something that sounds like a charity. in any event, we definitely want people to, if you're being solicited and you're thinking about giving, please reach out to us. Our phone number is there on the screen, 312-814-2595. Again, the number is 312-814-2595. And we've got our web address for that, charitablebureau.il, attorneygeneral.net. You can go and check, but call us and we'll let you know about that charity. So by all means, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Next one, Daryl. Unemployment insurance false claims. Let me just mention that. I've talked about it, but our office has joined a task force. They've partnered with the FBI and other major agencies to try to address that issue. So we are looking into that. So we are looking into all of those situations when it comes to the unemployment insurance fraud. And of course, if you run into a problem, definitely we want you to reach out to the Illinois Department of Employment Security, and of course, contact our office as well. Because that, if you have been, we're concerned about identity theft. They have used your name, your identification falsely, and so we just want you to contact our ID Theft Bureau and have a discussion with them. They'll tell you what steps you may need to take. If you're not doing it, we always encourage people that they should get a copy of their credit report once a year, just on GP. But definitely during this time frame, especially if you have been a victim of anything. So by all means, reach out to our Identity Theft Bureau and they will tell you all the steps that you may need to take. Frauds, healthcare frauds. Of course, yes, the snake oil guys are still out there. Only it's not snake oil this time. It's they've got the cure for the COVID-19. Of course, there is no cure, but that won't stop them from trying to sell it to you. So we had to deal with all of that as well. So we want to make people aware there is no cure. Okay. Also, the vaccine is free. Some providers may be allowed to charge a small administrative fee, which you still don't have to pay. But if you have insurance, they can bill your insurance company. But if you don't have insurance, the vaccine is free. So no one should be paying anybody for the vaccine. Now, the question is, will we get enough so that everybody can get it? But you don't have to pay for it. And consumer protection trends. Pets. Turns out everybody was home, so they were lonely. They couldn't socialize. So they said, hey, I'll get a dog. Well, you know, guess what? Scam artists are familiar with that too. So our scams tripled last year when it came to online shopping for pets. So as you can see, it's comprises 24% of the online scams reported to the Better Business Bureau, okay? And 70% of the targets, that's a high percentage. 70% of the targets ended up losing money. And the typical dollar amount lost to a pet scam is $700. So that's no small amount of sum. So we definitely want people to be aware of that. And if you can go and you know, see the pet that you're buying, from the breeder or whatever, you might do better. You know, then you can have a discussion. You can see what you're buying and all of that, and it might work out a little bit better than online. Now, if you can't get a deal online, you can, but we just want you to be careful about that. And of course, lending institutions, homeowners, renter information was there, working with other offices to protect consumers' access to the public utilities. So all of those things were issues because of COVID-19. And let's skip all of this voting and election stuff. And here, let's talk about because we're coming up to the as Karen mentioned, we're coming up to the tax season where you're going to be filing your stuff. So I believe this is a video. Gerald, let's go ahead and play that video. If we can. Maybe not.
Not a video, Skip.
Not a video. Okay, just a picture. But I think we do have one in it. But anyway, I'll advance to the next slide then. The IRS, we just kind of want you to be aware that there are a small number of preparers, dishonest preparers who are set up shop, and their job is to steal your money and your personal information. So they want you to be aware of that. We want you to look for a preparer who is available year-round. Ask for an IRS preparer tax identification number. Ask about their service fees. We want you to avoid preparers who base a percentage of their fees is based on a percentage of the client's refund, so stay away from that. Review your return completely before signing. Don't sign a blank or incomplete return. Make sure the refund goes to you, not to preparer. And watch out for the refund anticipation loan. That's what we call the RALs. And basically, if you're not aware of that, that's when the tax preparer, even the legitimate ones, will say, hey, you know, you don't have to wait. You can get your money in 2 or 3 days, okay? So we can speed it up for you. But really, that's a loan. They're loaning you your own money, okay, at a very high interest rate. If you're filing online and your preparer is filing online, you can usually get your money back from the IRS in like 7 to 10 days. So it's not that long, and you can avoid a huge amount of interest off of your own money. So we definitely want people to be aware of that. File online if at all possible, and you'll be able to get, and that money will be deposited in your bank account in 7 to 10 days. So, and you can avoid a lot of interest rates on that. And just some common scams. Home repair, telephone, online marketing scams, imposter scams we talked about, charity scams, healthcare scams, all of that. I'm looking at our time. I'm actually going to stop right here. What I am going to do, though, is, Daryl, I want you to, here, that's all right. I can handle it from here. What I do want to do is I want to make sure that you all can get in touch with us. So what I want to leave you with this is anything comes across your desk that seems strange or funny, you call us. There's no such thing as a wasted phone call. Okay, we're here to try to see if we can help protect you from losing your money. And I always tell people it's a lot easier for us to help you keep your money than it is for us to help you recover your money. So what I want you to do is if you run into a problem, go onto our website, okay? If you file a complaint with our office, let me just give you a brief understanding of how that works. You'll file your complaint, okay? If it comes under our jurisdiction, somebody will take a look at it, all of that, then it will be assigned a case number, and eventually it will be assigned to an advocate. That's the person in our office that is going to handle that situation. What we do is mediation. I know our title is Attorney General, but we don't serve as your personal attorney. We work on behalf of the collective. So we don't represent you in the normal, typical attorney-client relationship. We don't represent you, but we also don't represent the other side. Our job is to try to see if we can mediate that situation to the satisfaction of both parties. So that's what we do. So again, you had our email address on there to get in touch with us, our web address. By all means, do that. Again, let me give you my phone number. Again, 773-551-9310. Don't hesitate to call. Seriously. That's what we're here for. My job is to point you in the right direction. And even if it doesn't deal with our agency, I'll try to be sure to get you to the right agency or get you somewhere where you can get some help. Again, I want to say thank you to this group, the Rotarians, for allowing us to give this presentation on behalf of the Attorney General. Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity. We appreciate this opportunity. And if there are any questions, we can go ahead and do that.
Well, Skip, thank you for the information that you've shared here. You've given us a plethora of information, and we only have about 15 minutes left, so okay. I'm going to defer to, there's a couple of questions in the chat, and then there's a couple others that, and if you have a question, why don't you put it in the chat and I'll get to you. So from our president, he wants to know, wait a minute, where is he? He can speak for himself. Oh, did he quit? Bob?
I just had to unmute. So I'll summarize. But wonderful presentation too. I agree with this. So many details. And we learned a lot today.
Good.
I just wondered under the question of jurisdiction, if you mediate between local municipalities, local government, and individual citizens, or if that's outside your jurisdiction in some cases.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure I understand your question.
Well, let's say that a resident of Maywood had a concern over village government and a decision they made, or let's say a practice that they have and related to policy for some kind of residential, an application of local law.
Well, I think our jurisdiction is a little narrower than that. But again, that would be our, you would probably want to contact our Public Access Bureau. We you know, because we deal with the Open Meetings Act, that type of stuff. That sounds like that may be a little bit out of our jurisdiction. If that's the law that the municipality is passing, then I think that's what they're doing, unless there's some legal ramification for that law that we feel it's illegal to have that law, then we may step in from that standpoint. So I'm probably not the best. And as you see in my title, it's community outreach. It does not say attorney. And by the way, even if I were, we're not allowed to give legal advice. However, but your question, if you give me your information, I can follow up and get an answer for you. So if you would like, or you can call me. My number's on the website. Call me and text me, leave me your information, and I'll follow up. I'll get an answer for you. Okay?
Thank you very much. If I could tag on too, I wondered if your department or if the Attorney General's office has any kind of reciprocity agreement with the Better Business Bureau. Do you share information, or are you two acting completely autonomous from the other? Are we encouraged to report to both, or can we report to one?
So your last part, we do encourage. So if somebody is, let's say you're thinking about doing business with an entity you've never done business with before, we say check them out. That means we definitely encourage you to contact the Better Business Bureau. You can also contact our office. You just call us and say, hey, look, I'm thinking about using ABC Construction. You call us. We'll look up ABC Construction. We'll see if there are any complaints filed with our office within the last 5 years. Okay? If that's the case, we'll let you know how many complaints have been filed. Now, that's all the information we're going to give you. Okay? But at least it gives you some type of guideline. But we do definitely encourage you to do your due diligence. That means definitely check with the Better Business Bureau. We are separate entities, but we communicate often. Okay, and we have done some projects together. They years past, they used to hold a big shred event for the city of Chicago. It used to be set up. It used to be in June. I think the first Saturday in June. It used to be at the United Center in the parking lot. I mean, it was a big event. We might have had, the peak, we probably had maybe about 2,000 cars come through. with their documents to be shredded, that type of stuff. That was a multi-agency event. Not only the Better Business Bureau, they were one of the lead sponsors of that, but our office was involved, the city was involved, FBI was involved, the FTC was involved, because all of these agencies actually want to encourage you to shred your documents and all this other kind of stuff as a form of preventing identity theft, which if we can prevent it, that's one less thing that we would have to deal with anyway. So we're all in favor of that. So yes, so we work with them closely, and we're definitely in constant communication with the Better Business Bureau, but we are totally separate entities though.
Thank you.
Okay. Skip, you mentioned something along the lines of education. I wanted to know, do you have oversight with these diploma mills? It seems like every time I turn around, everybody's got a PhD. And then when I look up where they got these PhDs from, it doesn't appear that these are bona fide educational institutions, and there's nothing behind them. And people are spending a ton of money to get this worthless piece of paper.
Well, yeah, so that's a number of the lawsuits that we've done have covered that specific area. In other words, and that was what I was talking about, the schools aren't credited. So there was, I can't remember, it was a very famous school, used to advertise all the time. They're out of business now because of the lawsuit that we filed. But, and there have been others. But so the situation is we would have students enroll in these schools, get federal school loans, okay? These are private institutions, not public universities, private institutions, which often cost way more than the public universities, but they're not accredited. They go through the program, okay? I had a whole class of nurses, I think, that came through our office one time. They go all the way through the program. They pay their money. They've got the graduation ceremony, and then they got out into the real world. And then the hospitals and all that say, well, we don't recognize this. So not only they've wasted their time, you know, a year, 2 years of a program, but they're in debt. And they can't even get a job. So at least not in that field. So yeah, so that's something that we do. Now, if the students are not having a problem, it's up to the students to check and see. We have a student helpline. They can definitely call our office. We've got information on the website about all of that. So we definitely want them to do that because we don't want them to get to the end of the journey in debt and then only to find out that I wasted my time and I'm in debt. So yeah, that's a big issue, but we can't stop the schools if they want to offer it and people want to pay for it. Okay. We think it makes sense for them to do their due diligence and stuff first. If I get this degree from this school, what can I do with it? Okay. So yes, we do step into that situation. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would think that the educators, we have a number of folks in our club that are educators, and I'm sure they know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes. And I just wonder when they're hiring, do you run across this much? Bob, you were a superintendent. Did you ever run across people who had, you know, their supposed master's degree in education from some diploma mill? Or Michelle, you can speak to this as well. Have you ever run across? I know I have, and I alerted these people, but it was pretty clear to me that they kind of sort of knew something, but they were real happy to pay $5,000 and do something online so they can get a piece of paper.
Yeah, it's a little bit rare, or I think pretty rare, that in my experience with hiring, but we take a close look at where those degrees are coming from and do the background. Michelle?
Well, $5,000 is not a lot of money these days to pay. So I think some people probably look at it as like a discounted rate. Unfortunately, I don't really think everyone understands that you have to look at the accreditation of a school. You can have an accredited college or university, and the programs within that college or university might not be accredited.
Right.
So it's just all those little intricacies that everyone's not necessarily aware of, and the school is not going to be forthright because they really want the money, unfortunately. And so we do look at where some of the degrees are coming from. However, there have been just a lot more teachers and administrators coming through programs, University of Phoenix. But I mean, there's still quality candidates and some other programs. So I think it just partly depends on the person themselves and the experiences that they've had that go along with that degree, despite where it may be coming from. So I think we just always have to do a better job on the high school counseling side about letting them know about accreditation, because that's that missing link. So you've got me thinking over here about how we can do better with that.
Yeah. And the school I was talking about was Westwood. I don't know if you all remember.
Oh, yeah.
They had
all those commercials. Everybody thought it was good.
Right. We don't see them anymore because we had to put them out of business. So but they did a lot of damage.
Yeah, to a lot of people. The other thing I wanted to bring up, well, you said several things. Vaccine is free. Wow. People would be happy to get the vaccine however they can get it, and they will pay for it. So if there's some scam artists out here that want to, take advantage of people, I'm sure that they will.
And that is happening a lot in our immigrant communities. So those who may not be familiar and stuff like that, undocumented in that community, that's happening a lot. Yeah. So we just want to put it out there. But people are desperate. Yes, they will pay. But
I want to talk about Charity Check for a moment because we are an organization. We raise money and we give it away. And so, Mr. President, we need to make a lot of take this phone number and how we go about checking these charities out, because in some cases it may be a situation where they're not in good standing. And I'm glad that you brought this up, Skip, about this charity check. And you have a website, and you have an email address and a phone number here where we can check as a Rotary organization to make sure these organizations are in good standing.
Sure. And depending on the paperwork that they file, we may be able to even tell you how much of your dollar actually goes to the actual cause. There's some well-known charities that if you were to give them $10, only $1 goes to the actual cause. The rest is administrative fees and all of that.
Wow.
So yeah.
Clerk Edinburgh?
Yes.
In the past couple of years with Ray and Mike and I, we've actually discussed that, and we've done the background on all the charities that apply. And we've worked also with the Secretary of State website, and then had conversations with CEOs of charities to try to find out what was going on. So we are careful about that.
Skip just mentioned something else, though, that I think is important. Well, what amount of the amount that they, if like the $10 he just said. So if we give them $100, how much of that goes actually to the charity doing the work that they say they're doing, or is it all for administrative costs?
Right. It depends on, like I said, the paperwork that's filed. I discovered, I didn't know this, but I was working, helping somebody out with another charity, and I found out that when you have these professional fundraisers that raise money for charities, their fees may actually be 50, 75%. So if you gave them $20, you think you give them $20 to the charity. No, you only gave them 10 because they took 10, or maybe even 75%. So, but that'll show up in the paperwork.
Okay. I could go on and on, but I know our time is well spent here. Thank you so much, Skip, for sharing with us. We may have to have you come back because there's some other areas I know that people have some interest in. So,
Trust
you know,
me,
when
I
you
got
get
a
our,
lot more to talk about.
I was going to say, when you get our call, don't say, oh, no, not that Rotary Club again.
No,
But thank you
that's
so
fine.
much. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
sharing what you've shared. I know that our club is you know, their eyebrows, I saw people's eyebrows go up about different things. So we're going to have you come back.
We'd be
Mr.
more than happy
President,
to. And again, I just want to give a shout out to my colleague, Daryl, who was able to work with me, especially when we do stuff on the fly. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. President, I yield.
Yeah, thank you again, Karen, for a great selection and not only relevant, but competent, highly skilled presenter. We really appreciate your sharing with us today.
Thank you.
This would be a great point to mention that Rotary International has got the highest possible rating globally for the low cost of management of the funds donated through the Rotary Foundation. So we're in good hands there.
Okay.
I would say now our meeting is adjourned at 1:32 p.m. and we're entirely grateful for your presentation, for everyone's involvement and presence here today. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day, folks.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.